everybody. This is Out of the Box podcast with my co host, Bradley Powers. I'm Jim Andre. And here we have special guests, Annie Howells and Alex Richards. How's
Hi,
everybody
guys.
doing today?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
right.
you, Tim, also.
Yeah, we're all good,
Annie
thanks.
Howells is in the house. And
Yes,
Mm.
we
she
also
made it.
have Alex Richards in the house.
Hi, guys.
Now,
Hi.
one of you have got a device near you that might need turning down, like your laptop, Annie, might need to turn it down.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's much
Yeah,
better. Thank
lower the
you.
volume a little bit. Might get rid of some of the feedback if you're getting feedback.
We'll get the feedback somewhere. haven't we? That might be Alex. Alex, have you got another device near your phone?
No, not at all.
Rightio. Okay. Well, I'd like to introduce our guest. First of all, Jim Andre is a quantum healer and a alien abductee. I'd like to introduce. Thank you for joining us, Jim. I'd like to introduce Annie Howells. She's a wealthy historian and linguistic as well. Linguist. Am I right, Annie?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's basically what it is, really.
So basically, you're studying what the Welch dialect?
Yes.
Well, I'm learning kind of the old languages like Celtic and so on.
Yeah. Yeah. Annie is a Welsh historian. She's also studying the Welsh languages and the native languages such as Gaelic, Celtic, and Welsh. And joining us is Alex. Alex Richards is a bodybuilder, weightlifter, uh, and
Yeah.
also a experiencer. Alex has experienced seeing a UFO, spiritual entity when he was younger, and also he went to see a psychic a year ago who's predicted 80% of her predictions have actually come true. And we'll be discussing that with Alex very soon. And like I say, Annie is a historian, a future in the making, presenter, journalist, researcher. There is not a lot of people that actually promote Welsh language and Welsh history. So Annie is quite a phenomenon in the field, and it's very good to see as well.
Mhm.
So, Alex, have you ever been abducted that you're aware of, or
No, not at all.
no? Never had any missing time or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. Nothing more
No.
spiritual than anything.
Spiritual, yeah. So what do you say? Like you're telepathically in contact, or you've witnessed like UFOs, or
Or nothing UFO wise. Just when I was young, I had a paranormal experience. It's when
oh,
my grandfather recently passed away.
so it's basically based on paranormal then.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, yeah. Jim, any questions you'd like to ask Alex? We'll start with Alex first, but we'll hear his story. Alex, when you was younger, um, you actually experienced a spiritual entity, am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. So I was quite young. I was very young at the time, and it's when my grandfather passed away. And what he did when he was alive, he'd get balloons, he'd blow them up, and he'd let them go, and he all used to go, they go around like that around the room. So he passed away, and I think it was a few weeks after. Um, I was laughing, and my grandmother goes, what are you laughing at? I said, oh, it's Bambi over there, and he's blowing up balloons in the corner. And they're like, what? Like, how can you? And it's like, he's right there. He's like, it's clear as day, he's right there. And they're like, no way. Like, how, what do you mean? I tried to explain that, but they didn't quite grasp what I was saying. They couldn't comprehend it. And then another time, he passed away in the golf course. And we went up to the golf course. And I said, "Oh, look, it's Bambi over there on the hole. He's waving to us." And it was on the 18th hole. He had a cardiac arrest, and he passed away. He passed away there and then on the 18th hole. And I was pointing to the exact same spot where he passed away, and I could see him as clear as daylight, and nobody else could. I'd been that age, I couldn't understand why nobody else could see him, just me. So that spooked a lot of my family members out. That did.
Wow. Yeah. And so since then, you believed in the paranormal. You believe you're a spiritualist, and you believe in the afterlife. That's right, is it? Alex?
Yeah, that's correct. So when was it? It was about a year ago actually. It was a year. When did I see the psychic? I think it was in August. I was just very curious about, life after death and that side of things. And I went to see him. He lives in Swansea, not far at all from me. And when I was there, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect at all. And when I was there, I remember he was saying about, you could see my family members who deceased around me. I was getting a really weird energy, like a really weird. It's not like you have a fever where you're hot and you're cold. So it's like shivering, shaking. But it's getting quite warm as well. I had a bit of anxiety where you don't normally get. So I thought, oh, this is strange. And the psychic said to me, he said, "You're sensitive. You're not a psychic by any means, but you're sensitive." And he gave me, I can't remember what the name of the rock was, but he gave me this rock to hold to calm the energy down, and it did. He said, "You're not the first person to experience it, and you won't be the last." But you're sensitive, but you're not psychic by any means. But a lot of the things I wanted to go with this for some like proof, and what he said was really quite a lot of it was hit the nail on the head, dead on. I was just like, whoa, how this guy's never met me before. How does he know? He knew things about my family that I didn't know that I found really interesting. And one thing that got me as well is he said, "Oh, wow, I haven't had this for a while." And I said, "I haven't had what?" And he goes, "In your previous life, you were," this is what he said, honest to God, hand on heart. He said, "You're a samurai warrior and you passed away in battle when you were about in your 40s, and somewhat you got stabbed through the left shoulder, and you carried a spiritual wound, I think spiritual wound onto this side with you. And it's going to cause you a bit, it's going to cause you a bit of jip as you get older." I just thought that's strange because when I was doing training, I noticed the first day it didn't hurt, not hurt so much, but stiff, a bit like it needed a bit more, a little bit tender was my left shoulder. So it's like, that's a bit strange. But he said, "You've been brought back on to this life to try and open up to people because you spent 40 years of your life in solitude." And I can actually agree with that because I do like to spend a lot of time by myself, and I can easily do that. So I can easily understand where he's coming from with that one. So yeah, that was a bit of a mind. It kind of blew my mind, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But that's really interesting. Yeah. Very, very well. It goes to prove that not all psychics are fakes, then, which we know that
at all.
anyway.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't expecting. I went there with an open mind, as they always do, but I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting loads. But he said something really interesting. He said there was a lady called Margaret who used to look after me, and this person, I didn't know her name was Margaret. I knew her name was Moira. Now, because this lady, she used to buy you. When my nan was in work in Marks and Spencer's in town, she used to have you in the pram, take you around town, wait for your nan. She used to buy you. She says, "Can you remember the little lollipops?" I was like, the only lady I know who does that was Moira. This is when I was a toddler in a pram, but her name wasn't Margaret. So then I told my mum and nan after this, when I saw the psychic. My nan's face dropped. She goes, "Al, her name wasn't Moira. Her real name was Margaret. She hated her real name Margaret, and she always called herself Moira, but her real name was Margaret." So it's like, how on earth does this guy who doesn't know me know that this lady who used to look after me, who haven't thought about for years, how does he know her real name and I didn't?
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
So if you practice, do you practice and research the paranormal, or you just get it randomly?
I've researched it before. I've always been interested in it. As I've gone older, have I really, I've really dived in there to see if, just to see if the life after death and what to expect. And that's what really got me into it.
Yeah, yeah. Well done indeed. That's right. You're following the righteous path as well. Spiritualists is a right path to follow. The spiritualists, because
Yeah,
they do.
that's right. Yeah, that's the path I want to follow. I do follow the spiritualist path.
Yeah, agreed, and that's the right way. Yeah, well done indeed. And yeah, and you've seen a UFO. That's right, isn't it?
I'm not sure what it was. It's actually a few weeks ago. We went down Gower, and we did see. There was three of us, and we all saw the same thing. We saw satellites. We saw shooting stars, but we saw this weird cigar cylinder object that seemed to. It came up from the south. We were like, I said, has everyone seen that? Because I thought it was a star at first. I thought it was. I didn't know what it was. And then my other two mates were like looking at what, and one said, "Do you want to put that one over there?" And the other said, "Oh yeah, that big thing that's moving." And it was cylinder in shape, and it was like an electric blue color. It was an electric blue color, and it went up. It took a really weird path in the sky, not like any normal satellite, just a really odd path. It wasn't going incredibly fast, but it wasn't moving really slow. And then it just disappeared out of sight. Then and we were all like, "What was that?" Like, you know. I've done it before. I've camped in Gower. I've seen the stars. I've seen satellites. But I don't know what this was. This was something. This was a bit different to what I've normally been used to.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that information with us, though. It's really
Anytime, no
interesting.
problem.
Yeah. And we have Annie Howells here. Are you a spiritualist, Annie? Oh, we lost Jim. Jim's internet is a bit weak sometimes, and he could do magic tricks like disappearing on the show when I need him at the most. And over to you, Annie. Are you a spiritualist? Oh, we lost Annie as well. How's that work out?
No, it's just me.
Can you hear
Just me, Bradley.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, oh, what do I do now, Alex?
I don't know.
Have we run out of things to say? Well, Alex, you're Welsh, and do you speak the Welsh language?
Do you know what? When I was teaching, one thing about the Welsh language is when it comes to teaching now, especially in primary schools, they're bringing a huge emphasis back onto the Welsh language. When I did my teacher training, we had to do a Welsh speaking. I can't say it was a test; it was an assessment. Just make sure you could speak the basic foundation of Welsh and how we build upon it. But I think Welsh government, by the time of 2050, they want to have 1 million Welsh speakers, which is 1/3 of the population in Wales speaking Welsh.
Wow. Yeah.
They want to bring. They want to bring it back. They want to revive it.
Yeah, and rightfully so as well, I believe you. Welcome back, everybody. Over to Annie.
Annie and I got bumped at the same time.
Yeah.
He went off for some reason. I don't know whether apparently it's a bit windy out, so it could be the weather.
I lost my internet connection.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway, Annie, are you a spiritualist? That's what I was asking you.
Half and half. My dad is a medium. I don't think he does much of that anymore. Neither healing, but I do remember him taking me to Tranquility House. That's what they called it. And there, they would have classes on how to open your third eye and so on. I didn't need all that because my dad's pretty much psychic, and he's passed his powers on to me. And also I have a white aura, and it's not really changed.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And you are bringing back to life Welsh history. And Alex was just saying they are looking to revive Welsh history, and it's people like you who are activists, Annie, that will actually be performing this task, and rightfully so. Yeah. And I'd like to spit a big shout out to Gail Round Epps, David Daly, David Nash, Leo Hadoshi. They're all here. Candy Fowler, Shannon Boomgard, all the crew are here watching us as we speak. So, Annie, what's your favourite language out of all the languages?
I'd say my own language, really, Welsh.
Okay.
There's a Facebook user asking, have you had any out-of-body experiences?
That's Donny Lockbridge.
Is that Donnie? Yeah, I don't see it on my end. It says Facebook
Yeah,
user.
Donny Lockbridge, that is.
Hi, Donnie. So have you ever experienced any out-of-body experiences?
Ish. Well, we do with down the Tranquility House where we used to go. As I was growing up, we would have to they would teach us how to open our third eye by meditation techniques. And there was one in particular technique which Steve O'Brien, he's a well-known psychic / medium. He travels around.
Yeah.
He did like a meditation technique where you kind of would experience that, which is very very odd thing. So yeah.
Let me see. I hope it's not too much interference, whether it's going to.
My internet connection is weak. I don't know why.
Well, that's sad. Sorry to hear that, Tim. So, what can you tell us about Merlin? That's what people are interested in, Andy. What can you tell us about Merlin or Emrys?
Yeah. I found out some history, basic history on the fort of Merlin.
Yeah.
I was very interested on where or how it was built.
Yeah. Merlin, so some say, although me and Annie and Alex, we live 30 miles from where Merlin was actually born. However, some say he was actually born in the Isle of Man and raised in at Merlin's fort. So, we have to be open-minded to the concept of all things because anything is possible.
Oh yeah. Well, Merlin's fort is actually located right. It's beside the River Towy in Carmarthen, and it was actually built by the Romans in 75 AD.
Yeah.
And it was known as a Mori Dunham, which means sea fort.
Yeah.
This house is known as one of the oldest in Wales, and also holds one of the 7 Roman amphitheatres in the whole of Britain. The second amphitheatre is the one in Caerleon, which is just outside of Newport. And yeah, the Carmarthen River, the River Towy, it was just used to transport vicious activities throughout the centuries to carry on attacks and stuff like that. So the word Merlin could have derived from the Romans.
No, Merlin was a wizard, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. He is known as a wizard. There's supposedly links there's also a Viking warlord who is exactly like Merlin, but he's more of a vicious character. Do you know what I mean? He's more violent. He's a Viking warlord, and he is said to be buried down in Gower. And his name was like Folk Beard. At one point, they thought they were related, but they're not. They just look like each other.
Candy Fowler says she was fascinated with Welsh history. Thank you for your question, Donny Lockridge. Candy Fowler is fascinated with Welsh history, and I bet they are loving your accents, Alex and Annie.
Facebook
so.
users saying
Got
hello,
Swansea
Jim. I
Jack
don't know who it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah. So you are enjoying. You're studying at university, Annie, to be a Welsh historian, and I think I admire you for that. I admire your spirit. You are a partisan to the cause, and you serve the greater good. And the greater good is whatever you want it to be, and you're serving the greater good in the means of Welsh. You're serving the Welsh community by promoting the Welsh history. Thank you for that, Annie. That's very kind of you.
Well, yeah. With the Welsh history, there's a lot of gaps that have been like kind of taken away from us by the English, and it's very important to educate everyone about what has been missing in Wales and why Wales is what it is today.
Yeah. Candy Fowler says one of her best friends is Welsh, and so she adores the accents. Yeah. Thank you for that, Candy.
I don't even see that comment.
Yeah, well, I'm privy to a lot of stuff, Jim.
Well, it's not coming through on. It's not coming through on StreamYard. So whatever platform she's not on is not showing here.
Yeah, I got it here, Jim. I got it all. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, how I got it is I got into your group, Jim, to get this information. Your group. Yeah. I've got 2 forums here, and they're both separate. Yeah. So Annie, what's your plans ahead? So you're going to study Welsh to be a Welsh historian and a linguistic.
I will carry on, researching, because that's what history is all about. But I want to do some Celtic studies, in Scotland, because they're doing in Aberdeen University. They got like huge Celtic community. And
yeah,
I want to go towards doing Celtic history as well as just Welsh history, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you, Alex? Are you familiar with Welsh history?
No, I'm not actually. I'm not that familiar with Welsh history, to be honest. I know about the language. As you said before, for teacher training now, they bring in reviving Welsh back, the reviving language a lot, because it was, I think before, might be classed as a dying language, but yeah, the Welsh government by 2050 want 1 million people speaking it, so that's 1 in 3. So there's been a lot of emphasis on bringing the language back. But when it comes to Welsh history, I don't actually. I don't.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Which is a shame, because in school,
so what's your goals then, Alex?
In school, we weren't taught much about Welsh history as such. It's more about English history, the Battle of Normandy, the kings and queens. And then if you go and do history at GCSE, it's more than into World War II.
Oh, you're familiar with the Battle of Hastings then, Alex? 1066?
Yeah, I studied it years ago when I was younger, but I haven't looked upon it for a while. But it's fun.
Well,
yeah, when we were in school, we actually did a French trip, and we actually did see the Bayeux Tapestry in France. It was huge.
Actually, I don't know if you know this, but the Battle of Hastings is actually Welsh history, believe it or not, Alex, because the Normans were known as William's men, and Williams is one of the biggest, well-known Welsh names in Welsh history, and so they said to William the Conqueror's men, that if we win the Battle of Hastings, everybody will be allocated a plot of land, which they were, and the plot of land they were allocated was in Wales, and to this very day, 2/3 of the UK is still owned by the original Normans that come over in 1066.
I did not know
2/3.
that's really cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Williams is a very popular name, Williams men. That's where the name Williams came from. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a bit of Welsh history for you. Although Harold did go up and defeat the Danes up north, so King Harold actually beat the Vikings, and that was and they were tough men to beat. And yeah, King Harold's men beat the Vikings, and I'm proud of him for that. However, he didn't beat the Normans. And the Normans built the White Tower, which is at the Tower of London, and it's still there to this very day. Yeah, absolutely. Over to Annie now.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, a bit of history for you there, Alex. Anyway, over to Annie. Do you know much about the Hastings, Annie?
Battle of Hastings.
About the Hastings, yeah.
I can't really hear anyone. It's all muffly.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry to hear that, Annie.
Oh, it's gone now. I was like, what the hell was going on then? What are you on about? This Battle of Hastings?
Yeah. Are you familiar with the Battle of Hastings?
Oh. I am familiar, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad. Well, I just say something. Allegedly, King Harold may not have. I believe when they found King Harold's body, who got shot in the eye with an arrow, they actually hung, drawn, and quartered his body. Although some say that wasn't King Harold. So, that's the conspiracy theory that is.
Bradley.
And the Bayeux Tapestry was made as well.
Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
Bradley, I got a post up there that says Facebook user. Do you know who that is? Says I have a question, brother Jim.
Yes, that is a Chinese name that I can't pronounce because it's in Italian.
Okay.
I can't even say it. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your question.
Right. Yeah, what is the question?
Thank you for your question for Brother Jim. Yeah, Candy Flower says the show keeps breathing up. I'm sorry to hear that, Candy. Well, we're still rocking and rolling, and we've been into the show halfway through the show. Oh, it's Arabic. His name's in Arabic from Algeria.
Arabic,
thank you for sharing that with me.
Arabic, yeah, from Algeria.
Yeah, sorry, and I said Chinese, didn't I? Yeah, so to know how ignorant I am.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your question? Yeah, please share. Yeah, it's hot and handy.
It is.
Yeah, very. Yeah, well, Annie's in the spotlight along with Alex. And Alex, what is your career opportunities lay ahead for you? Alex is a bodybuilder and a weightlifter, and he's got a six-pack, and he's got a body to die for. He would make you well, Joe.
Thank you. Not at the moment. I'm in off season at the moment, so I'm just slowly bulking up. But
yeah. None of it is steroids.
I like doing it because I can see the changes. I like doing it to just better myself and push myself and just go for an aim and a goal. It's something to do. So I last competed last summer, and I won my class. I came second in the overall, so I was really, really happy with that. But the diet to do it it's pretty grim. For a month out, even if I competed on the 31st July last year, and even in summertime, I was just so cold because I had such low body fat. I was just walking on with jumpers on. In Swansea, we've got lovely beaches. We've got the Gow. We've got some of the best beaches. I'd say in the world. We got some amazing beaches, and I couldn't enjoy it, which was sad. All my mates would go in the sea, and they'd spend in there for hours. Not hours, but they'd spend a good time in there. And I can even come to the end of I couldn't jump in the sea. I was so cold. I just walk around with like tracksuit bottoms on and a jumper, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, man, just really, really depleted." As well, I'm quite chilled. It takes a lot to annoy me as well, but when you get to that low the hunger as well. When you get to that low body fat with the hunger, because I was teaching, I wasn't snappy at the children, not at all. But my patience wasn't quite as my patience was a bit, a little bit more thin than what it normally was. But yeah, that's what. Yeah, so touch upon my career. So for the last 3 years I was teaching. I had a year in a school in Swansea called Gowden. Then for 3 years, then I was on supply. However, unfortunately for Swansea in South Wales, there's not many teaching positions at all, which is it's unfortunate. But I've managed to get a grant and go back to do computer science for a year. Something I've been doing since the first lockdown back in 2020, because everything was shut, gyms were shut, we couldn't really do anything. So I thought, right, I might as well take this as an opportunity to try and better myself. I'm not a gamer, but I did years ago. I popped up my mate's and he was playing the game. I thought, it'd be kind of cool to learn how to program a game. And from doing that, I got quite interested into computer programming. Not so much fixing computers. I'll try my best, but I'm not great. But when it comes to programming, I really, really enjoy it. So that's where I'm going at the moment.
Candy Fowler is a very attractive lady, and she said, "Can she see your body?"
It's on my Facebook or Instagram.
Whatever you do, Alex, don't get Bradley too excited.
No. Candy wants to know: are you going to take your top off, Alex?
No, not at the moment.
Oh, wow! You're so modest, man.
I'm shy.
Facebook users
so
saying,
modest, Alex, you really are. Okay, we have a question for Jim. The question for Jim Andre is, well, why we only see this alien experiences only in the US and big countries, but we don't see it in other countries, such as Algeria, France, or other countries?
Well, the only answer I can give to that is I'm sure that them places that you're questioning do have sightings, at least. Some of the smaller countries probably, a lot of people that experience alien phenomenon such as that, they're afraid to even talk about it because they're afraid of being ridiculed. So, I mean, in the bigger cities, they're more open about it. So I'm sure it happens in them other places as well.
I support Jim's statement. Algeria, France, and other countries do witness alien experiences, and they do see UFOs. Only the media don't like to promote the fact that it's actually happening in your countries, just as much as they do in America. To be honest with you, but it does happen in all countries, all over the world. Alien UFO sightings, as you've seen the UFO, haven't you, Alex? UFO sightings and alien abductions, they happen all over the world.
As a matter of fact, I just did a video.
Promoted on the news.
As a matter of fact, I just put together a video of the Zeta transmission, the Zeta reticulus,
which you can find on Jim's timeline or on my Facebook. The Zeta Reticuli, I downloaded a cosmic symphony for Jim to share, which Jim uses in healing with his clients. He uses this to heal his patients. It's a 20-minute therapeutic session, and like Jim, you'll normally find if you play it, the more you play it, the more it will heal you. And you can find this symphony on my timeline and Jim's timeline. So please do navigate our timelines and look for it. Rightio. Over to Annie. So Alex is not going to get his top off. So we established that. So sorry, Candy. You've been let down there. I know.
Apologies.
You can see Alex's top on his Facebook profile if you want to see Alex's stunning abdomen. Christopher Gibbons says he liked that Zeta transmission, Jim. He thought it was very cool. Oh, hi,
Oh,
David and Ethan. Thank you for
there's,
joining us so much.
As a matter of fact, I could play it on here if they want. If they like to hear it, it's up to them.
Would you play 5
The
minutes
viewers.
of it or 3 minutes?
It's about 5.5 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
If any of the viewers want
What
to see
Jimmy's
it, they
about
can
to
look.
play is a download from the T-type reticuli, short greys.
All right, I'll play it. Hold on.
Okay, and it has healing capacities if you listen to regular. Oh, Donnelly Lothridge was asking, does Welsh celebrate our major holidays? Annie. Okay.
Ish,
All right,
yeah. With
This here is the
listen to
video.
this first,
with
Annie.
like we do celebrate our own like Halloween, which is Karen Gaeaf.
Okay.
The following is a message to humanity from the Zeta Reticuli. We are an alien gray species from a two-binary star system, located in your solar system approximately 39.3 light years away from your home planet, planet Earth. We are high-ranking members of the Intergalactic Federation Council of Extraterrestrials and ambassadors to mankind and other numerous intelligent life forms scattered throughout a number of multiverses. Along with so-called intelligence comes responsibility and ultimately consequences. The purpose of this contact is to inform you that we, along with other numerous alien species, have been monitoring the progress of humanity since your inception. It is vital that you listen to this message and heed our warnings. The planet on which you live is of and within itself a living entity that provides the very sustenance required for your everyday survival. It is also very diverse, whereas it also supports approximately another 8.7 million species, not just man alone. That being said, the most dangerous species on Earth is that of humanity itself. The lion is the beast of the jungle. Man is beast of the world. It is through the intelligence of man, or lack thereof, that your technology in the form of nuclear weaponry, the testing of atom-smashing colliders, weather manipulation, various secret black op programs, and warmongering tendencies that has brought the world to the utmost dangerous state it is in today. The following is addressed to the 1% who are in control of the masses. You know who you are. It is through your ignorance, power trip mongering, and psychological instabilities that humanity has become an endangered species. Your nefarious intents will lead to your own demise. If you are given the opportunity to continue with your crazed, radical behavior, you will not only destroy yourselves, but all other much more innocent species around you, as well as the planet that never fails to support you, all other species, and never asks for anything in return. For these reasons, we are officially informing you that we will intervene, not necessarily to save humanity from itself, but to protect and guarantee the natural God-given rights for all of the species to continue survival unscathed, and to protect your precious planet, Mother Earth, who without fail supports all life forms. It has been decided by the members of the Intergalactic Federation Council of Extraterrestrials that intervention on behalf of nature itself is inevitable. It was our decision to destroy your precious Georgia Guidestones on July 5th, 2022. It will also be our decision to destroy the Hadron Collider if you do not immediately cease and desist all future planned experimental operations, for you know not with what you play with. People of the world, beware. Our gathered intelligence reports indicate that world governments who are and have been in control are planning to stage a massive upcoming hologram technology-fueled false flag alien invasion. Alien crafts, holograms, will be seen in the skies firing weaponry, when in reality, the weaponry will be being fired by the military-industrial complex itself. If and when this occurs, once all is said and done, due to the fear factor level, the cabal will be able to reach their agenda in forming a global government with little to no resistance from the masses. We are hoping the masses will awaken. The masses consist of 7.2 million versus the 1% who consist of 800 million. Given these facts, the power truly lies with the masses. But in order to derail what is about to transpire, the masses must awaken and come together as a collective to defeat their silent, seemingly invisible enemy. To the masses we say, fear not. To the 1%, also known as the Illuminati and our cabal, fear us. End of transmission.
Thank you for sharing that, Jim Andre. That's a message from the Zeta Reticuli short greys. Believe it or not. It pays to keep an open mind in this show. Well, we appear to have lost Annie. Hi there, Vic. Vic Makarov. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Vic.
We still got Alex on board. So,
We got a question here. Does Wells celebrate our major holidays?
Well, Annie was actually responding to that. Annie, are you all right? Annie was responding to that, although we seem to have lost. Oh, Annie's back.
Can't see her though.
Annie? Oh. Now I
think we lost both of them.
It's just me and you, Alex. Oh dear. What a weak internet connection they got.
Yeah, it's not normally my internet's bad. I'm quite surprised they last this long.
Well, Alex, do you know, does Wales celebrate the major holidays just like any other country?
Yeah, back in Wales we do celebrate the main holidays.
How you got to look upon it as what you do is all that weightlifting you do, and you're a martial art expert as well. That is meditation. Very spiritual path indeed.
Yeah, it's something. Funny enough, it's something I've been trying to do as well. Is to practice meditation. Try and switch your mind. I've been going to YouTube videos to do it, like for beginners. Trying to switch your mind off, trying to block everything out, and just have no thought but to concentrate on certain aspects of your body. I found that quite challenging to shut your mind out, make sure you've got no little intrusive thoughts coming in, just thoughts about anything. And apparently that is what, it's not just me, that is one of the hardest things about meditation that a lot of people, a lot of newbies, first timers, people who've never done it before struggle with, is to try and get into that mindset of trying to block everything out. And afterwards, it just feels so relaxing, so relaxed. I've seen people try and meditate. I didn't realize how good it was for you as it is. How I think it says like it can heal the brain, like with serotonin, dopamine receptors and things like that. So it's really good for your mental health. So I've been giving it a go, but I'm getting better at it. It's just, as I was saying, it's just really, really hard to switch your mind off. Do you do it at all, Bradley?
I like what you said earlier, Alex. You enjoy your own company very much. You spend a lot of your time alone.
Yeah, I can spend a lot of time. As well with teaching. I did enjoy it, but I did find it draining. When I'm speaking all day, I did, like, at the end of it, I was like, oof, like, I needed that. I needed a good hour to myself of just spending, if it was in the gym or even just coming home, just lying there and just listening to something. I just needed that. I think I am an introvert. I know extroverts, extroverted people feel more energized around others. I fancy that if I'm with a lot of people and I spend a lot of time, I do feel drained, and that's no disrespect to any company I'm with. It's just they've always been like that. I do feel that I can get quite tired if I'm surrounded by a lot of people. I seem to pick up on people's energies a lot. So just for the first bit of time, I'm fine, I'm talkative. But then after a while, I do drift off into my own little world. So yeah, I mean, everyone's different. I mean, I'm just not. It's different. When I was younger, I was a bit more outgoing than I am now. Don't get me wrong. If I'm not a hermit by any means, but I do. If I got given the choice now of going out on Saturday night or chilling in, I will more than likely 9 times out of 10 definitely take chilling.
Candy Fowler says solitude is very good for our well-being, and it also goes to show you you're spiritually balanced, Alex.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I find. I do find that I definitely find it helps me really. Definitely that little hour to yourself. I need it. Otherwise, I feel burnt out. I do. If I'm around a lot of people, I do get burnt out. Even with my mates, a big group, not a big group of us, but the guys I've known since like school, comp school days. Even when I go on holiday with them, a lot of the time of the day, a good few hours, I will drift off and do my own thing, because in the group as well, I do get picked up in the energy. It does drain me, and yeah, I just need that time to myself. And hi guys.
Candy Fowler says,
it literally disconnected me.
Welcome
I
back,
was like sitting there quiet. Yeah. I was listening, and yeah, we do celebrate holidays in Wales that are just for Wales. This is the Welsh thing. So I clarify. When we were when I was in school, we would celebrate them as well.
St. David's Day.
And the Christianity stole a lot of the pagan holidays, didn't it, as well?
A lot. I mean, Halloween came out from Samain, and Samain was also brought from Calan Gaeaf and Samain were both the same thing, except Calan Gaeaf was like the 1st of November, which is the Christian version of Halloween, right? And there's also Calan Mai, which is a similar thing, but it's in spring. We have Santa Stwynwen, which is very celebrated in Welsh communities, which is a Welsh Valentine's Day, and we have our own Welsh Christmas, which is not really Christmas at all. Can't remember what it's called. And we have our own Welsh New Year. The Welsh New Year is the day where you're supposed to plant new crops, and then it's supposed to be harvested in the summer/autumn months, harvest season.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us, Annie. We are coming to the close of the show, the end of the show. I'd like to thank you both for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you near us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes.
Do they?
Also, I've got a question for you, Annie. Do you enjoy your own company? How are you regarding your own company?
Sometimes not. Depends how I'm feeling in some situations. I suppose like company is better than no company at all, in my opinion.
Do the Welsh celebrate Valentine's Day?
Yeah, Santa's doing when.
I wonder where that
I
originated.
posted
Valentine's Day and Cupid.
Yeah, Santa's doing when. I've actually created because there's a story behind it.
Yeah. And Alex, Tom is here at this moment in time.
Hi, Tom.
Yeah, Santa's. Yeah, sorry.
Well, he's round the corner with Corey, who you met the other day. You met Andy, you met Corey. Now
That's
Tom
right, yeah.
is here as well. Yeah.
Are they with you, or do you say he's around?
They're not with me
I don't
right
know
this very
where
moment. They're round the corner.
I don't know
Alright.
where they are, to be honest. They should be back by now. But you know what Corey's like. She takes a lifetime.
So I'd like to say thank you for both for being a guest on Out of the Box podcast with Bradley Powers and Jim Andre. It's been a pleasure to have you near us.
It's not right,
Thank
Are
you,
there
guys.
any
Pleasure.
questions from you, the forum, or Jim Andre?
Well, it was good to have you guys on. Maybe come back on another time.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
I'd like
Thank you
to
for
thank
entertaining
everybody for
them.
joining
I
in
know
with us.
there's a little bit of paranormal phenomena from them, as well as Welsh history. And
Yeah.
Annie, how do you say a swear word in Welsh?
Well, fuck off means cachu bant or cachau bant.
Oh, she said it.
And
She said it.
technically, so yeah. We were never taught in a Welsh in primary school.
You're gonna make Bradley
where we
blush.
just that's how we did it, like cachu bant. That was the only
Alex,
swear
did
words
you
we were
know
allowed
what
to.
the swear words were, Alex?
Sorry, didn't catch that.
Did you know what Annie said? The swear word for fuck off. Forgive me for swearing.
Cathay Bant.
Yeah. Oh, Alex knows.
I like that one. I remember that one.
A lot of people know it. But, in the
You
Welsh
know,
schools,
going
if you
like
met
that to a copper, giving the copper the finger, it's not
Yeah,
against
Bradley.
the law.
Bradley's using the universal language right now.
just say to them, cachu bant, I'm off now, and then we're not going to know you saw.
The universal.
I'll have to go through a dictionary first.
The universal language is body language.
Yeah, that's right. I agree, David. Okay, thank you. Annie Howells, Welsh historian and linguistic, and Alex Richards, bodybuilder extraordinaire, weightlifter, personal bodyguard.
I won't go that far.
In the making. Have you ever met any famous people, Alex?
Not that I can remember. I think I met some rugby players when I did meet some Welsh rugby players when I was younger, but nobody really famous.
I've done security for Lennox Lewis, heavyweight boxer, and Chris Eubanks, and
Oh wow,
Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, and Chuck Berry. I've done security for. Have you met any famous people, Annie Howells?
Yeah. I don't know if you know them, but there's a band called Ghost, right? And the person who's like the lead singer, the person who's singing, he always wears a mask and a pork costume and so on, right? So he was, and no one knew who he was at the time. But we were standing outside waiting for him, and we did. We saw him without costume. We knew who he was without costume and all that. He was by his forge. Everyone didn't know that at the time. It was only us. And I've met a few like Welsh actors. I used to work with Michael Sheen, who is a Welsh actor. He's well known in Good Omens. We used to act together too. And what else? There's a few, but like rugby players and football players, but that's about it.
I've met Eric Pollard from Coronation Street. You, Annie, and you, Alex, have also can now say you've met the legendary, iconic Jim Andre and Bradley Powers. We're famous too.
Definitely.
And you've been on Out of the Box podcast. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you near us. Thank you to Jim Andre, who's hosting the show. Thank you for allowing them on board, Jim.
Yep.
Thank you,
My
everybody.
pleasure. Thank
you for your time. And thank you to everybody who's contributed in the chat forum today, or all the viewers. Please support the show by subscribing or sharing the show. Thank you so much for watching us.
See you all in the next one.
David Daly says this was